The way our generation dates is wild. I mean, firstly, there are a million dating apps, which is not a bad thing because I know beautiful stories and a lot of stories where people get married off of meeting each other on a dating app. But you're basically swiping left or swiping right, depending on how much you find that person physically attractive and vice versa, right? So that's interesting to me. But people are really out here full on dating. I mean, they're on their 10th date, they're traveling together, they're having sex, they're making plans for the future. And then they get the ick about something and they're like, thank you, bye. Ghosted. We're done here. Like, we literally took Ariana Grande's song, Thank You, Next. Literally. I don't like the way that you smile. Thank you, next. I don't like the way that you chew. Next. I don't like the way that you walk in little slippers. Thank you, next. Like, it's crazy because there's a million options, right? So no one is finding stability in dating. They're like, oh, wow, if we disagree on something and you're giving me the ick on this, why would I stay when I have a million other choices and a million other swipe right, swipe lefts that I can have and do? My peers, my friends are going through so much hardship in dating. And it is not just a one person issue. It's, communication goes both ways and dating goes both ways. But like, you don't think the people that are truly in happy, like, marriages didn't fight or that they don't have icks about one another? Like, I look at my relationship of 2.5 years with my partner and I think about the amount of good arguments we had to have this beautiful foundation, right? Like, there was one point where I was like, wow, we really can't see eye to eye. Like, you don't believe what I believe and this is clashing. So how do we figure out a way to meet in the middle? And there's just no more middle in dating in our generation anymore. There's no more finding the middle. And so I don't know, I just needed to rant a little bit because it's a little scary. Like, we wonder why divorce rates are super high. We wonder why the marriage rate is super low. We wonder why people aren't getting married or having children. And it's like...
So these are just a few things that I struggle with as a single mom. Having extreme guilt on the choice I made in a child's father. I saw a few signs throughout our relationship that he was not going to be a good person, rather poor character, really. And I looked past that because I just figured that in love, you're supposed to, nobody's perfect is what everybody told me. And I stuck it out because I thought that eventually he would change. He didn't. Being a burden to my family, because I have twins and nobody wants to help me watch them at all. They say, oh, I'm going to help you. Nobody has helped me as far as like watching them. It's too much for them. Grieving the life I had before being a single mom. I was able to go out and be social all the time. I was able to travel with my friends. I was able to just have mommy-daughter dates with my first child. I literally have no time at all. Finding time for myself, like being able to do things just for me, like go on a walk or just doing things, by myself, that is non-existent. Severe loneliness, that's really, really hard to handle because I don't want to jump into another relationship just because I'm lonely and then have some crazy man in my house again. So it sucks, but after I put the kids to bed, I'm there just with myself, and it's just like, wish I surely had somebody, but it couldn't have been him because he wasn't a good person. Reliving past trauma, the things that kind of got me in this situation, I'll think about the arguments, I'll think about the text messages and the audacity that this person had. Every day. It doesn't go away. I think about it very often, and I'm, still very much upset about the things that transpired. Staying positive throughout this whole experience, knowing that I deserve better, that I really didn't expect this stuff to happen, and not getting any help, it can really make you feel really upset. And then when my daughter gets home from school, I have to be present with her. I have to be present with my sons because they need me. So it's very difficult to stay positive knowing that I have all these things on my back by myself. I'm going to take care of this shit though, and I'm going to handle my business because I'm going to get it done.
This one is for my moms. This one is for my moms that have multiple school-age children. So I know how I handled sending my first baby to kindergarten. And I cried on the way to work, and then I was fine. I'm trying to figure out what is different about the last kid that you send to kindergarten. Because I don't know if it's a combination of, like, watching your older kid take your baby into school, or if it's just the realization that you really don't have a baby anymore. I'm asking because this seems like excessive emotion. But also I know that I'm not alone, and I know that a lot of moms do this. So I'm pretty much just asking for a friend, how, like, what you did throughout the day to cope, because I cannot be like this today. Like, how do you keep yourself from going in there and just sitting with her? And she wasn't even sad. That's the thing. She said, "Bye, Mom."
I saw a video of an influencer stating how single moms get a lot of hate. Let's talk about it. This is something that I find to be very, very true. I get a lot of hate comments in my videos saying things like, "Oh, you're a single mom," people trying to use it as an insult. And people will tend to say this because I take care of myself. When I do wear makeup, I do my full face, I wear my cute outfits. And because I'm not the typical mom that they expect me to be, they will say these type of things. People saying, "Oh, you look like you have a lot of baby daddies. Oh, you look like you have a Jaden or Aiden." When in reality, I'm not a single mom. But even if I was, people tend to disregard the fact that it also takes a man to be a father, to be a parent, and to create a child. And when there is single dads, they are praised for being a parent. But single women are judged and are shamed. Why did you choose that baby father? Why did you lay up with him? Blah, 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 blah. But again, the absent father, the father that chose to walk out on their family or leave that child, is never blamed or is never judged. This is a reminder to all my women out there, whether you are a single mom or not, that does not define your worth. And at the end of the day, it is better to be a single happy mom than a single married woman, no matter who, what judges you or says otherwise. And this is something that is super common in our Latino community.
So I'm divorced and remarried, and I got married really quick the second time. I'm talking like engaged and married within a few months. And someone recently asked me, how did I know my husband was the right person for me, especially after all I had been through? And I found what I wrote, and I just feel like you need to save this and write it down in your manifesting journal. Okay, I wrote, "This man pursued me so intentionally, it melted away any insecurities because he showed me I was more important than relationship games. He adored me so much that I never had room to question if I was good enough. He respected me so well that I never questioned my worth with him. He was so wonderful to me that it made me want to be my very best self for him." And then I finish it off with, "What made me fall in love with him as an adult so quickly without too much questioning anything was the way he made me feel about myself with his actions." Note that I didn't say how he made me feel in general. Any fuckboy can make you feel giddy and excited. It's how his actions made me feel about myself as an individual. Anyways, I wrote this about 2 years ago when we had been married 4 years, and now we've been married 6.5 years, and I still feel the exact same way about him. So go back and rewatch my video, write down everything that I wrote about my husband, and put it in your journal, because every girl deserves a guy like that. And they're out there, I promise. You just gotta dig for them. Dig and dig and dig, but they're there. I'm Monica. I share my mistakes in love and life, so you don't have to make them. Okay, love you, bye.
This one here is for all my girlies over 30. Recently, I came across this YouTube video of a young man, and he had a bunch of men on his live and while he was recording. And my conclusion of the 3-hour-long video is that men nowadays, no matter how old they are, they're only interested in girls between the ages of 18 and 25. Now you tell me now, where does that left we? Where are we over 30 and 41 left? Now, me not have to worry about it, because me well married for 22 years. But life takes its twists and turns. So does it mean that once you turn 30, 25, that's it fair? No man no want you again? Uno let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Much love.
Judge said I can only see my daughter on weekends, so I got a job at her school. Now I see her Monday through Friday and get to have lunch with her. This right here is, one, pretty much the same reason I married my husband, and two, the reason I talk about this stuff. When my husband found out he was going to be a father in his early 20s, he left his job, family, and friends to move hundreds of miles away to be as close as he possibly could be to this child, to see him every day. And what happened? Family court did the same thing, gave him just every other weekend. Yeah, this man turned his whole life around to get a house a mile away from the mother with an extra bedroom just to see his kid 4 days a month. And this was years before he met me, for all the bitter people who think that men only step up to impress their girlfriends. And so now what's going to happen to this man is, because he's been given the most bare bones parenting time schedule, he's also going to have to pay the maximum amount of child support. And whether it's a public or private school, he's probably taking a pay cut to take this job. And so what the child support office is going to do is calculate his child support at his potential income, what he was earning before, not at his current income. That means this man's child support could be calculated at, say, a $70,000 a year income when he's only making $40K. All of which, by the way, is giving a huge chunk of money to the state. So basically, this man and many men like him are lining the pockets of so many people just to be a present father. It's time for family courts to stop assuming all men will be deadbeats when there are hundreds of fathers just like this one fighting to stay in their kids' lives. And remember this clip every time you disrespect a father just because he doesn't have custody.
Girl, you ain't never lied. Have you heard of the Mommune, where single moms are like buying houses together, building community together, but they're living together and they're like helping with cooking, cleaning, watching the kids? I think it's fucking amazing. I need a friend who will be single with kids, and I want to do that. I feel like that's so fucking lit. I want to take part. Me too. Have you heard of the Mommune, where single moms are like
I've never heard of this before today, but I went down the rabbit hole and oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. This is something I would absolutely love to take part in. Living with a group of other single moms, helping each other with the childcare, living expenses. That sounds like a dream come true. And I know I wouldn't be the only one doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, basically every household chore by myself. Like, how do I get in on this? Like, I want to be part of a Mommune. Like, how do you join?
Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. Title of this story is, Am I the Astronaut for Suspecting My Wife After She Went to Mexico and Spent No Money and Took No Pictures? She went on a leave no trace trip? I am in the middle of probably the biggest crisis of my adult life and I can barely think, so I apologize in advance if this comes across as really weird or rambly. My wife went to Mexico last week for a friend's bachelorette party, and aside from the plane ticket, the hotel, and the first day's food and drinks, she didn't spend a penny all week. I mean, on the credit card, it's clear as day that on Monday and up until about 9 p.m., she was buying dinner, stuff at the hotel, shop, drinks at the bar, souvenirs. And then at 9 p.m., she didn't spend another cent the entire week until she was at her layover airport in Dallas. She says it's because her friend took over and paid for everything. I guess this is plausible, but it's still giving me a funny feeling. What is worse is that my wife is a person who posts her entire life on Instagram and TikTok, mostly Instagram. But if she does anything from getting a latte to picking up the kids at school, she will post it either as a picture or as a story. The last thing she posted on TikTok was that a trend of people jumping into their vacation from the airport. And after that, her social media is blank. I was kind of keeping an eye on it because I was excited for her to go on the trip. And again, I guess it's plausible, but it gives me a funny feeling. When she got home, I said I can't wait to see all the pics she took. And she really blew me off and said she just didn't feel like taking pics that week. She has also been incredibly distant. And last night she said she just felt like sleeping on the couch because the AC hits better. This is 100% true, but I swear I heard her talking on the phone in the middle of the night. When I got up to check on her, I accidentally tripped over the dog and made a huge racket, so when I got downstairs, she appeared to be asleep. I brought all of this up this morning and said I'm not accusing her of anything, but all of this put together is making me feel uneasy. I wasn't trying to bait her or fight with her, just get my feelings on the table. She said, "You are a major asshole for bringing this up on her first day back at work." I said I wasn't trying to pry, just communicating with her, and she said, "Your communication is prying, and I am not discussing this with you ever again." She then took the kids to summer camp and left. Am I the astronaut? We have an edit and an update, but for someone to go on a trip, and it is plausible, like bachelorette trips, you know, if it's an all-inclusive thing, it's possible that they were like, all right, you don't spend another dime. Everything is on us from here on out. Could be. What about the rest of it, though? Her behavior change is more alarming, right? And she's defensive. And as we read in a story earlier, it's the response that elevates.
Oh, hell no!
Brothers,
Human beings are creatures of habit. When you get used to doing something, your brain starts doing it on autopilot. This woman is the typical type who shares her entire life on social media. She was all excited about this trip, as her husband mentioned, and he even supported her in going. But she doesn't post a single photo, spends only on what she consumes at the hotel, and when she comes back, she's acting strange and defensive. These are clear red flags. This woman is hiding something, feeling guilty, and that's why she's defensive. She doesn't want to be around her husband, and she didn't come back from the trip eager to share what she did, which is very unusual for any woman after a trip. We've said it many times here. A man who lets his woman go on a girl's trip doesn't really have a woman, and it's even worse if it's a bachelorette party. You all know the chaos that goes down at those bachelorette parties. They're worse than the guys. But let's continue.
The sus factor. Okay, let's dive into the edit here. Edit. So I realized that her text probably synced to her iPad, so I just checked. Took me a while to figure out the passcode, but I did. But there was an iMessage at 9:15 the night she got to the resort to a number with no contact info that said, "Okay, I'll meet you in the lobby." Is the app you said Signal? I looked up Signal, and it's kind of like WhatsApp. The iPad doesn't have Signal on it. So she downloaded a different app to chat with somebody and then deleted it. Edit 2, if you've been following my comments, you've seen that my sister is coming over and she's an insane internet sleuth and is relentless when it comes to this kind of cheating stuff. She also scares me a bit, so I'm hoping this isn't a mistake. I'm going to probably stop responding for a while so we can talk and she can do her thing. I am numb, but she can do this. Thanks for everyone and the nice comments and the reality check. It's not looking good. Edit 3, she cheated. My sister was able to get lots of info from the real estate guy, and my wife denied it at first, but then admitted it. Sorry it took so long to update, but I'm numb. I have literally zero idea what to do now. Edit 4 was deleted for personal reasons for OP, per Candy Thunder. Understood. Edit 5. I know people really want updates, and we've been talking, arguing, screaming, threatening all day long. I'm more confused than I was this morning, that's for sure. But I'm also confused, exhausted, sad, upset, nervous, and I don't know what to do. I did make a preliminary appointment with a family law attorney tomorrow to talk about protecting assets and how to navigate the legal way ahead, regardless of what I choose to do. I will say there's a subreddit that this was cross-posted to, and it may be the most toxic group of people I've ever seen online, and I feel really bad for those people. As for the privacy issues, no one has figured out who we are. That's not a challenge, by the way. I'm very tired, and I doubt people are still invested, but if there's still an interest, I can update either on this post or a new one in a few days. I'm really hoping to sleep tonight. My sister still has the kids, and they are having a blast and went to the lake with her boyfriend's family today, so I'm glad they're in good hands. And the official update now. Yeah, I have some professional buddies, like some industry buddies who like to use Signal for chatting. And that's literally it. But it's one of those, if your company uses it and you want to interface or engage with other collabs, or apparently if you're trying to hide cheating.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
She cheated. Nothing new under the sun in the life of a woman who travels. Girls' trips, bachelorette parties, this was all planned. From the start, she traveled alone. The second red flag was staying at a hotel with no photos, no updates about the trip, keeping everything very private. The worst sign is that she was defensive, didn't even want to sleep with her husband. That's what happens when guilt takes over. There's something we've always said. A man's instinct never fails. When you see this kind of strange behavior in your woman, you can assume something is wrong. This is what I mean by being a good man. If this had been a man with masculine boundaries who told her he doesn't accept girls' trips, she wouldn't have cheated. But he was the typical nice, permissive guy, letting his wife go alone to another country for a supposed bachelorette party. And what did she do with his trust? The same thing every woman does to a nice guy. Cheat on him with a chat. She didn't care that she had kids and a life with this man. She only cared about her feelings for Chad and having a few passionate days with him in Mexico. But later, they say all men are bad, right? Let's continue, because this is where the video gets good.
Official update. Good morning, everyone. I know it's been a while, but as I'm sure you can imagine, this has been the worst week of my life, and it's been an absolute whirlwind of activity trying to get things set up in a life that I don't really even recognize anymore. First of all, I'm now in the process of getting a legal separation from my wife with the aim of getting divorced. She and I both want to take the process very slow so it's fair to everyone. I do have a personal lawyer who is handling the separation, but even she recommends that it will be cheaper and easier for us to do a mediated divorce. She, edit the lawyer, not my wife, has a colleague who has this sort of package deal where we will work together with a certified counselor while we are meeting with the mediation lawyer to handle the legal aspects. The goal is to learn to be co-parents and friendly while we go through the breakup. I know my wife is hoping to see the counselor with the aim of reconciling. I am doing the counseling so I can learn how to treat her with some sort of respect as the mother of my kids for their benefit. I can't possibly see reconciling, but I guess stranger things have happened. So to those of you who read along last week, know that my sister is one of those internet sleuths who if you can tell her a first initial in someone's eye color, she can come up with the person's entire life history in a matter of minutes. I've pretty much let her handle all of the dirty work. She did some research on the guy, and he's an absolute piece of shit. He has judgments and liens against him all over the country. He has 6 kids with 4 different women and is delinquent on child support in most of them. And it seems like his MO is to just wait until the kid turns 18 and hope they stop coming after him. And this is the guy my wife picked to ruin everything for. My sister did get in touch with his current wife and said that she has pics and text messages to prove that he was cheating, and so far has not heard back from her. Who knows what's going on with that? My assumption is it's happened so many times she expects it and tolerates it, or maybe we will hear back from her. It was the first gut reaction that I felt too. It's not a surprise to her, and it's happened before. My wife and I are still in the house together until the separation is official, and we may continue to be even after the legal separation is done. I just don't know, and I figure as long as we can be friendly to each other, then it's okay. I had to go away on business last week, and when I got back on Saturday, it was pretty clear the fight in her was gone, and she wanted to talk and accept full responsibility, and was willing to come clean about the whole thing. I told her I really didn't need to hear anymore because her affair partner had confessed the whole thing and even sent pics. I think her thing now is that she's utterly humiliated and has been very quiet, even obsequious as her general manner around the house. It's not really what I want because I didn't get married to have a servant, and the change in her normal fiery and funny personality is only a reminder that something is really wrong. Kids are doing fine. They're spending a lot of time with my sister and her boyfriend and his family, so hopefully looking back, this will just be the summer before their parents got divorced and are missing the turmoil in the house. I guess if there are questions, I can try to answer them, but that's pretty much what's been going on here. There is one more update, but damn, obsequious. Yeah, like subservient, right? Damn. Mel J. Wolf, thank you so much. With the love and the hearts on the YouTube side of the stream, it does make a difference. Thank you. Yeah, poor guy. Like what? So how did she not think when she was going to do this that it wasn't going to be suspicious? And apparently, it wasn't even a Bachelorette thing. Apparently, she was just going to have this hookup. The Bachelorette thing was.
Damn! Do you see why being a good man never pays off? A man who respects himself doesn't let his woman go on a trip alone, especially not to a bachelorette party. This trip was simply a setup to meet with that man. And who did she choose? The classic, well-known Chad. A man who brings nothing to the table except his seed. A man who's a delinquent, with 6 kids from 4 different women. They never leave you for someone better. They leave you for a useless guy who's just fun in bed. I'm sure that short trip was spent entirely in the hotel, which is why she didn't spend anything else, and there were no other photos. So, imagine that they didn't leave the room. She was enjoying herself with Chad. The husband was lucky he figured it out. He wasn't a fool like many simps who play dumb in these situations out of fear of upsetting their woman, because he could have ended up raising Chad's 7th child. Another mistake this man made was not kicking her out of the house. Forget about a friendly divorce. She needed to be out. If he leaves her there, sooner or later they'll sleep together, and he'll forgive her. You can't reward bad behavior. If she cheats, she needs to leave the house. At least he's filing for divorce. She knows what she's doing, probably getting advice from her friends, telling her to treat him well, do everything he wants, dress sexy so he'll forget. Don't fall into that trap. The first thing you need to do is distance yourself. Kick her out of your house. You didn't cheat, so you shouldn't leave your home. Let her go, but let's continue.
The Bachelorette thing was a farce. Okay, here's the update that that is on surviving infidelity. Hello, my posts from the last 2 weeks have gained quite a bit of traction on the AITAH pages, and several people have advised me to post here. Long story short is that my wife went on a trip to Mexico and had a mostly emotional/financial affair, but it got physical at least once. It certainly would have been more, but the guy had pretty severe health issues. I am beside myself with anger and embarrassment, but as the days have gone on, I am thinking that I can't live without her. We have been together since we were 13. We have kids. I have a side business with her dad. I'm great friends with her brother, and my family loves her like a daughter. We're scheduled to bring the divorce mediation next week while also doing co-parent counseling, so the process is moving forward. Part of me feels like I'm grasping at straws to forgive her, but part of me feels like she has shown me a lot of grace and forgiveness, and I should give her the same chances she gave me. When we were 15, I cheated on her while I was at a baseball camp. Not only did I cheat on her, I dumped her when I got home, explicitly told her it was her fault that I cheated on her because the girl wasn't a good girl Christian. And then I dated other girls that school year and rubbed it in her nose at every opportunity. It wasn't until she started dating that I realized how sorry I was and begged her to take me back. In 17 years, she's never held my behavior against me, except for some light ribbing now that we're older. She forgave me unequivocally, and I vowed that I would never hurt her like that again, and I truly haven't. But I can admit cheating as a horny 15-year-old guy is a far cry from cheating as a 32-year-old mother of two. She had so much more to lose and so many more people who would be hurt by her actions, but she loved me enough to forgive me, even though it must have crushed her. I have to admit there's a huge part of me that feels I owe her a second chance because she gave me one, even though the circumstances are so much different. I'm not even really asking what I should or should not forgive her. Rather, are these emotions normal? Am I rationalizing something that should not be?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Brothers, what you just witnessed here is the evolution of a nice guy into a conscious cuckold. A man who lets his woman cheat but stays silent out of fear of losing her. I told you he was falling into a trap. If you let your anger cool down, you won't make any decisions. When he let her stay in the house, they continued living together throughout the divorce process, then came therapy, and then she started acting well-behaved. Of course, this would make him doubt whether to leave her or not. A cheater never changes. Women are experts in manipulation. She probably started treating him well, cooking his favorite meals, making him feel like they had a perfect family again. I'm sure there was some intimacy, even if he doesn't admit it now. You know those nights of passion where you're angry, but still do it with a lot of intensity. What happens after? He starts doubting, thinking, am I going to throw all this away over a simple mistake? She forgave me when I was young. It's not the same as a teenage relationship. This is a 15-year marriage with 2 kids. It wasn't a business trip. She went to meet a Chad who was a delinquent. I'm sure she even paid for the hotel to be with that man, with whom she spent several days without leaving the room. She came back home thoroughly worn out. She even went to the couch on the first night back so her husband wouldn't touch her, because of how well Chad had worked her over. Friend, have some dignity. Not kicking her out of the house and staying with her. This outcome was inevitable.
Should not be rationalized. Okay. So everybody's going to view this a little bit differently. I feel like, OP, yes, you are rationalizing something that should not be rationalized. I feel like you are grasping at straws here. You feel what is the comfort of your normal world right now slipping away, and you're grasping at anything you can to try to slow that process down. But all of the things that you mentioned, having the side business with her dad, being really close with her brother, those things don't change. Your family loving her like a daughter, that'll probably change. But the other things can keep going. A lot of your life can keep going the way it is. It doesn't have to change. Your connections with previous family members don't have to change, especially if you're in business. The whole 15-year-old thing, like, come on, man. Come on. You know, yes, that's shitty. Shouldn't have done that 17 years ago. Is it 17? Is that right? I understand that there are kids involved. Here's the deal, though. The example for what your children will believe love is and a marriage should be are going to be the example that you set for them in this house. And if you accept this, not to say that it's not fixable, she could do the work to fix this whole thing. I don't know that she's willing to right now. I don't know. But I'm not saying it's not fixable. But if it's not fixable, That child can grow up with healthy parents who choose themselves and choose happiness, and they can provide a great example. If you stay and it's this broken, toxic relationship full of regret and resentment, and it's backhanded compliments to each other, and it's just being shitty, and it's you never fully trusting her and her always being on guard or being obsequious around the house, that is not the example that you want to create for your kids as for what love in a marriage should be. I do not think. You have to look at everything that is involved with every choice that you make here. So let's say, yes, you grasped at straws here and you're like, oh, she gave me a second chance. I should give her one. Okay. What happens later on? How are you going to heal the two of you? How are you going to heal this relationship? How are you going to heal this family? How is it going to work? It is not as simple as just saying, yes, I'll forgive it, or no, I won't. Nothing is simple about this. Everything you do is going to be complicated. You just have to make sure that you think it through and choose the one that takes you to what your goal really is. What do you want? What do you want, OP? You have to answer that. And then remember that every time you're making a choice.
No! Can we just take a moment to, like, understand that when a woman... Ooh, I am not gonna do this right now. When a woman is going through postpartum, that it's like almost worse than going through pregnancy, like emotionally, hormonally. Can we take a minute to understand that? So please excuse me if my emotions are high one day and low the next. Please excuse me if I may say or do some things that are out of character. You know what I mean? Like, please excuse me if I may have an ex that really didn't do me too good, but because I just had his baby 2 months ago, maybe I'm a little bit upset that he's not around anymore. You know, I'm allowed to feel those emotions, but can we please understand what a woman goes through postpartum? It's not fucking easy. Am I the only one?
And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.